Hello everyone, I'm Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IS English channel. Now yesterday, Indian Meteorological Department IMD, it said that India's monsoon this year will be above normal rainfall. So what is a above normal monsoon and how do we categorize a monsoon as above normal, below normal or a normal monsoon? All of this we are going to cover in our today's discussion. So let us quickly understand the context of our today's discussion. Now yesterday, in its first long range forecast of the season, IMD actually highlighted that India's rainfall this season will be above normal. And this actually was based on the fact that IMD categorizes few atmospheric conditions as the drivers of Indian monsoon, that is El Nino southern oscillation, Indian Ocean dipole, and the levels of ice cover or snow cover on the northern pole. So these three drivers of Indian monsoon are actually favorable, and this favorable drivers will actually lead to better rainfall this season. So in our today's discussion, we'll cover everything. We'll cover few facts relating to Indian Meteorological Department. We will understand how IMD categorizes any rainfall as above normal, below normal or normal rainfall, and also the impact of these main drivers on the Indian monsoon. And quickly, before ending the session, we'll also understand why is rainfall so important for Indian economy in general, right? Now first let us understand few facts about how IMD predicts monsoon. Now April's prediction that was done yesterday, it was the first prediction by IMD for this season's rainfall, and this will be followed by an updated prediction in the month of May. Now during the month of May, IMD actually has a better picture or better estimation of how the levels of monsoon will be this year, and it shares this prediction in form of four broad range geographical regions, that is how rainfalls level are going to be expected in the northern part, in the eastern part, in the southern part, and in the western part of our country. Similarly, while doing so, it also announces the likely date for onset of monsoon on the coast of Kerala, which actually signifies that monsoon has actually arrived in India. Now usually this date is 1st of June, but you understand this can actually go beyond 1st of June, and this can actually also happen before 1st of June. So whenever rainfall reaches the coast of Kerala, that highlights that India's monsoon season has begun. Now this announcement also will be done during the updated forecast next month, that is on May. Understood? So this is how IMD predicts and estimates the amount of rainfall. Now let us quickly understand few facts related to IMD, and why are we dealing with IMD in our today's lecture? Because it was established in 1875, and what is the year right now? It is 2025, which means this year IMD is celebrating its 150th anniversary of its establishment. So any such significant milestones naturally becomes this topic important from our exams perspective. Now IMD is the government's principal agency when it comes to all matters related to meteorology. So estimating the amount of rainfall, estimating the amount whether or not rainfall will not be sufficient and can it lead to drought, all of this data is given by IMD. Now this organization is headquartered in Delhi, or New Delhi for that matter, and it is supported by 6 regional offices that are related or that are situated in Mumbai, Chennai, New Delhi, Kolkata, Nagpur as well as Guwahati. And this authority functions under the Ministry of Earth Sciences, MOES, right, which is a Ministry of Union Government. Now, what is the responsibility of IMD? First, it takes meteorological observations and provides current and forecast meteorological information for weather sensitive activities, right? So suppose what comes to my mind is agriculture is very rainfall sensitive because 55% of gross cropped area is actually rain fed. So what will be the levels of agriculture? Too much of it is dependent on rainfall. So therefore such meteorological observations and forecast becomes important for weather sensitive activities. Also, if the amount of rainfall, or for example rainfall or drought is too severe, it can lead to problems of flood, or it can lead to problems of lower agricultural productivity. So IMD also warns against such severe weather phenomena, be it intense rainfall, be it probability of flood happening, or be it probability of drought that might prevail in a particular region. So naturally, when such warnings are issued by IMD, authorities naturally prepare for such kind of an activities and make preparations for such kind of activities. Also, it provides long-term meteorological statistics. Now going forward, you understand the amount of rainfall will vary significantly. Even if the total amount of rainfall might not change every year, but the way in which the rainfall arrives and the way in which the rainfall is distributed across the months will differ. So by understanding and providing these statistics, it actually helps policymakers, it actually helps farmers, it actually helps all the stakeholders in our economy make better and informed decisions. Also, it conducts and promotes research in meteorological and allied disciplines. And recently IMD has said that it will conduct research on bringing artificial rainfall, as artificial rainfall something is very much demanded at the time when there is increased levels of pollution in a particular area, for instance Delhi NCR, right? So this is how IMD provides you the necessary data. It provides you with warning, it conducts research which might help us understand climate in a much better manner in things to come. So that is why IMD is important. Again, why is IMD important? Because it is right now celebrating 150th anniversary of its establishment. Now let us get back to the news. The news actually highlighted that IMD has predicted that this year rainfall will be 105% of the long period average. Now, what is the long period average of rainfall in India? Estimating the amount of rainfall that happened every year and dividing the amount of by the year itself, we come to a conclusion that average rainfall in India every year is 87 centimeter. So according to this prediction by IMD, if you calculate 105% of long period average, which is 87%, the figure comes at 91%. So actually the IMD is highlighting that on an average in India, the rainfall levels will be 91 centimeter, which is way beyond the average figure of 87 centimeter. But why is actually IMD giving this data and not 91 centimeter? Suppose IMD had given 91 centimeter of rainfall will happen this year, right? So, but how would you assume that this 91 centimeter is good or bad when it comes to average, right? So that is why, see the communication of IMD, it is so precise that it gives you how much more rainfall will happen as compared to average, right? So this is how IMD gives the data. Now, what might come to your mind is how do we calculate average, or what is the categorization based on which IMD has said it will be above average or above normal. Okay. Now, what you have to understand that this year, when the IMD has predicted that rainfall will be more than average, this will be the 5th time in the last 7 years where the rainfall has been more than average. And in the 2nd consecutive year, the rainfall according to IMD is expected to be above normal. So if you look at this table, the normal figure here means that if the rainfall is between 96 to 104% of long period average, then that rainfall is categorized as normal rainfall by IMD. Similarly, if the rainfall is below 96%, then it is called as below normal rainfall, which means rainfall is in the figures between 90 to 95% of long period average. And if it is even below 90, then that rainfall is categorized as a deficient rainfall, which means less than 90% of long period average. Moving on the other side, if it is more than 104%, then it is called as above normal rainfall, which means rainfalls between 105 to 110% of long period average. And as you can understand, the IMD has said this year it will be 105% of long period average, which means it will be an above normal rainfall. Similarly, if it would exceed the figures of 110% of long period average, this would mean that the rainfall will be in excess rainfall, right? So this is how the IMD categorizes the rainfall as above normal, below normal, deficient, excess or normal rainfall based on the percentage of long period average. So if it is between 96 to 104%, that means long period average. So technically, if IMD had categorized 98% of long period average, this would mean not deficient or below normal, but normal rainfall. Okay. Now, what you have to understand that IMD has also said that this will be the 2nd consecutive year when India will witness above normal rainfall. If you can recall, last year, India's rainfall was 108% of long period average, which is in this particular category between 105 and 110. That is why it was above normal rainfall. Okay. Now, let us quickly understand the drivers of Indian monsoon, because I told you in the context, right? Because the drivers are favorable, that is why India's rainfall will be above normal. Now, first driver that determines the levels of rainfall in India is known as El Nino Southern Oscillation. Now, El Nino Southern Oscillation refers to atmospheric condition or the temperatures of sea surface that are prevailing not in Indian Ocean, not near Indian coast, but in the coast of Pacific, particularly in the eastern part of the Pacific Ocean, which is on the coast of country known as Chile. Now, if the sea surface temperatures on the coast of Chile, which is located in the eastern part of Pacific Ocean and on the coast of Southern America, if it is above or it is warmer than usual, then it means that the conditions of El Nino will prevail, right? And if it is cooler than usual, that is opposite of El Nino, then it is known as La Nina. Okay, so these are two phenomena known as El Nino and La Nina, which constitute the El Nino Southern Oscillation. Now, it has been assumed or it has been widely estimated and seen that in cases of El Nino conditions, which means warmer than usual temperatures prevailing in the eastern Pacific Ocean, it will lead to or it negatively impacts the rainfall in India. So, example, if El Nino conditions will prevail in eastern Pacific Ocean, it will lead to less than usual rainfall in India. And if the opposite conditions happen, that is cooler than usual temperatures in the eastern Pacific Ocean, which means La Nina is prevailing, it will lead to more than usual rainfall in India. And even if it is a neutral condition, which means no El Nino or no La Nina, it is also a favorable or a positive indication for Indian monsoon. So once again, La Nina means cooler than usual temperatures in eastern Pacific Ocean, and this positively impacts Indian monsoon, that is Indian monsoon will be more than usual. However, if opposite were to happen, that is warmer than usual temperatures in the eastern Pacific Ocean, that will mean El Nino conditions will prevail and this negatively impacts Indian monsoon, which means Indian monsoon will be less than usual. So this was first driver. Another driver is known as Indian Ocean Dipole. Now, what is Indian Ocean Dipole? Suppose this is the coast of India and this is the waters of Indian Ocean region. Now, Indian Ocean Dipole is the temperatures that exist between western Indian Ocean region and eastern part of Indian Ocean region. Now, eastern part of Indian Ocean region means near the coast of Indonesia, whereas western part of Indian Ocean means near the coast of Africa, right? So suppose if the temperatures in the western part of Indian Ocean were higher than usual and on the eastern part of Indian Ocean region it was lower than usual, then it means the Indian Ocean Dipole is positive. And when Indian Ocean Dipole is positive, it means India's rainfall will be more than usual. And if Indian Ocean Dipole is negative, which means lesser than usual temperatures in West Indian Ocean and more than usual temperatures in the Eastern Indian Ocean, this is called as negative Indian Ocean Dipole, and as the word suggests, it impacts the Indian Ocean or Indian rainfall negatively, which means Indian rainfall will be lesser than usual. Okay, so this is how IOD it impacts Indian monsoon, which is the difference in temperatures of Bay of Bengal and Arabian Sea side of the Indian Ocean region, that is on west and eastern part of the Indian Ocean region. And IOD is considered as positive when Arabian Sea side is warmer than Bay of Bengal side, which is western side is warmer than eastern side, and this is generally favorable for Indian monsoon. Understand the impact of IOD, sorry. Now let us understand another driver known as snow cover of the North Pole. Now, the occurrence of snow cover on the North Pole, particularly in Northern Pole and also in the Eurasian continent, is very important. Suppose the winter and spring snow cover over the northern hemisphere, including Eurasian continent, is less than normal, it means good news for Indian monsoon. Similarly, if the snow cover is more in the winter and spring season on the northern hemisphere and in Eurasian continent, this will mean bad news for Indian monsoon. So, if Indian monsoon rains, these are inversely related to the extent of snow cover in the region. So, if snow cover is more, then rainfall in India is less. Similarly, if snow cover is less, this means the rainfall in India will increase, right? Or it will be more than usual. So this is how these drivers impact Indian rainfall, and according to IMD, these all three drivers are favorable, which means La Nina conditions or neutral conditions is expected to prevail, positive Indian Ocean dipole is expected to prevail, and lesser than usual snow cover is expected on the northern pole. And because of these three factors in total, this have highlighted that the rainfall will be more than above normal in India. Now, why is rainfall significant? Now, almost 75% of India's annual rainfall, it happens in the 4 months of monsoon season that stretches between the months of June till September. So, India witnesses 3/4 of rain in this 4 months only. And the rainfall which is received during this time, it is absolutely critical for many purposes. For example, irrigation water which we get and which helps us to irrigate the farmlands, this is also very essential for agricultural economy, because I've already told you the gross cropped area of our country, 55% of this gross cropped area is actually rain fed, which means these 55% of gross cropped area, these are not supported by any kind of irrigation, be it tube well irrigation, be it micro irrigation, be it canal irrigation. So naturally, all these 55% of gross cropped area, where do they get waters from? They get waters from rainfall. So naturally, when the rainfall is above normal, the water levels are higher and the soil moisture level is higher, which will lead to increase in yield. But what if, God forbid, opposite happens? If the rainfall is low, then it will lead to less amount of irrigation, and this will also lead to reduction in yield. And when the crop yield reduces, it reduces the supply of food grains in the market, and you understand the consequences of reduced supply is that the levels of food inflation, it will increase in Indian economy. So no one would want increase in prices of food products. So that is why water or high levels of rainfall is very essential for agricultural activity. Similarly, power generation activities also will lead to or higher amount of rainfall will allow the dams to have higher amount of water deposits, and using these water itself, dams will generate hydropower electricity. Similarly, availability of drinking water in cities, which is a big issue right now, it can also be supplemented by agricultural and rainfall water. And in general, the economical impact of rainfall is quite high, because I told you what is the main economic activity in rural areas. The main activity or main economic activity in rural areas is agriculture. So when the health of agricultural sector improves due to better rainfall, it will lead to growth in rural economy. And similarly, if the rainfall is less, it will impact the yield of crops. Naturally, the farmers will earn less amount of money, and this will push down the rural growth in general. So naturally, the rural economy or the growth of rural economy is highlighted by sale of two-wheelers, sale of tractors. So in case of bad rainfall, sale of two-wheelers and sale of tractors would reduce, whereas in cases of good rainfall and good agricultural productivity, sale of two-wheelers and sale of tractors improve. So this is how agriculture directly or indirectly impacts Indian economy. It directly impacts agricultural sector, it directly impacts power generation, it directly impacts the availability of drinking water, which leads to higher economic growth, which can also lead to less economic growth in case agricultural sector witnesses a decline in yield. Understand? So this is why understanding monsoon is important, and that is why all the forecast that was given by IMD was covered in every newspaper. It was covered in the front page of Hindu, it was covered in the front page of Indian Express newspaper. And also such questions which are related to weather phenomena have appeared in the prelims. Case in point, this PYQ of 2017 which appeared in the Indian Ocean Dipole. Now I've already told you what is Indian Ocean Dipole, so why don't you just comment the correct answer to this PYQ in the comment section, and with this please allow me to take your leave for today. So, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel for more such informative videos on everything that is relevant for UPSC perspective. So again, I'll take your leave. Please have a very pleasant good night.